Okay, in the last video, part 2, I showed you how this cartilage can get totally bent under. See there? And in the other pictures of this horse's foot, she had a real weird looking frog. See, well, you look right here, that's the frog corium. So the frog corium is growing like that. See there? So you're going to have weird frog. I'm going to show you a picture of that. Okay, now remember, this is how the foot was, and this is how, and she didn't think anything was happening for a long time because C has to replace all the side wall here that was trimmed out of the foot. See there? It replaced all this wall here, grew back in. Look at the cartilage, how bent it is. Look how it's starting to free up, and look more like, instead of like that, start to look more like this. See? Okay, so I'm going to show you a few more pictures of this foot here. Okay, let's see. Okay, right here. Look at this is the frog. See, well, now I have a mark there, but you can see this piece of frog here. Her oh, what you say? Look at the cartilage, how it's bent around there, like that, and then this just kind of sticks like that, and then the wall goes down like this, and then you can see a piece of frog there. Make it bigger. See, I kept seeing that sticking out, and this weirdness here. Okay, this is where the wall should be. Okay, that's how much wall is trimmed out right there. See that? So all this had to grow in. Well, it kind of wasn't doing what it was supposed to do, and I kept seeing this right here, and I said, well, what is that sticking down there? And she said, well, that's a frog. That's part of the frog. And I said, oh, well, you need to trim all that away so it'll open up this area of the heel buttress corium here so that this wall will start growing back and filling in. But see, when you start growing your heels back, you're going to think, well, nothing's growing. I ain't got any heel. That's because it is growing and filling up back this way like that till it gets right here. Then it'll start to grow down and you'll see some wall coming down here like heel. Here's the markup I made for her, asking her, what's that? Okay, now here's one of the back feet on that horse. It's in a different stage of having it. It doesn't have as much heel trimmed out of it, but look at the crack in the wall here. Okay, because the heel is trimmed out, because the cartilage is pushing forward. Didn't I explain something about how you get a quarter crack through all this? Look at that. See, the wall is pressing up this way and pushing up that way and causing this crack. All from heel being trimmed out. See, there's still heel trimmed out here, just not as much as that other foot. Here I fill it in for her, show her what it's supposed to look like, and I filled it in a little bit there for her too. See, this should be nice and relaxed. It shouldn't be pulled down like that. Your collateral cartilages. Pretty ugly foot, isn't it? And this is a big, good-sized horse. Okay, here, this is my horse here that I pretty much got the heel buttresses fairly restored on. Okay, notice where the buttress is right here. See? See, it comes over here, and then your sole corium starts right about here, or your frog corium starts right here. This is frog right here. Okay? My periopal skin is only this wide here. This down here is frog skin. Okay, periopal skin is not supposed to go from here to here. That's when your heels are trimmed out. Okay, now in this case, the periopal skin in this horse did not stretch with the heel. It all let go. So look at where the heel buttress is not over here. Right? That's because this is not heel buttress. This is wall. The heel buttress has already been trimmed out. See, and now what you have is the wall in front of the heel buttress, like right up in here. See? I'm trying to show her the difference here. And there are different manifestations of this. Okay, so now I'm going to try and explain something to you that I saw when I did the first part of this series on the evaluation of this Warmblood's foot when I was trying to explain it. And I'm going to show you how that relates to an issue that I have been having with my pony that I did not understand until now. Okay, now if you move something, okay, if anything I move here is going to affect something else, is not that correct? You can't take this and move it into a space over here because there's something in that space, right? So if I take this and move it over here into this space, it's going to have an effect on this space. Is not that correct? Okay, so, and this is what I saw was what happens when this cartilage is pulled under and pushed under. You've got a coffin bone right here. This is a bone, okay? It takes up a certain amount of space. Okay, when you take all this cartilage and you force it up and forward and under the back of it here, pushing all this here, what happens is it takes and it, minute here. Okay, here's your coffin bone right here. Okay, when all this cartilage gets pushed up, what happens here? Ow. Okay, it's going to push this coffin bone up right here. And when it pushes that part up, well, then the toe right here, it's going to pull it down. I'll show you what I mean here. Okay, what I've done is I've divided and cut out a piece of the foot here, the cartilage, which is right here. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, the cartilage, which is right here. This is the back of the foot. See right here? Okay, I've put it in another program that I have, and I've angled it. I've turned it. Because see, just like I'm showing you, when the heels are trimmed out, okay, this hairline here gets pulled down and around like that. And the hairline is attached to the what? The coronary band. So when the coronary band is bent, since the hoof wall grows from that, the hoof wall is going to grow at a different angle wherever this bends back here. If it was growing, if the horn tubules were growing like this, okay, once this gets bent like that, then it's going to make them grow like that. Do you see that? Okay, that's why you want a coronary band that's just straight, like this. Okay, then all the horn tubules will grow correct at their correct angle. Okay, so when you're trimming out the heels and all this gets bent down around and under and curved, and so this is something you want to look for in a horse, is does the coronary band run from here to here at just a nice angle but straight, or does it run back like this and then curve around like that? So you don't want that. You want it to run back like this and then go around the back of the foot here. Okay. Oops. Okay, so I took this, I put it in another program, and I turned it a little bit. See? I'm going to put it right where it should go, right there. Okay, now, that means that this part here has been pulled under, right here. We're going to go ahead and just cut this little part off here. Okay, so now this is what's going on. Now your hoof wall is growing like this and like this. You see that? Okay, but now I've moved this and shoved it up under this bone. What happens to this bone? Well, this bone is pushed up like that, okay, which is going to bring the toe back like that. So I took this part here cut it out and I see how I changed it, okay, so that it's angled back. Okay, it's going to do that to that. See how it's now look what it did at the toe here. See, it's going to cause separation in the lamina of the toe right here. Where is that? Okay, that's right there. This is what happens here. So as this is pulled down, around, and forward, it's shoving up into this back of this coffin bone and pushing it up this way, which is pulling this toe back that way, and so you're getting a big laminar wedge in the toe. It's causing mechanical laminitis, is what it's doing. And so this is what I realized. Okay, and this is the problem that I have been having with my pony. Now, just a minute here. Okay, so then what happens, instead of having a nice angled, straight coronary band where all the hoof wall grows at the right angle, you have this situation where, just a second here, where you have this coronary band hairline that is like this. Okay, and when you look at it, you think that your wall is jammed here from hoof wall jamming up like that. So you try and relieve the wall here to get the jamming out, but that is not the problem. The problem is all in the back of the foot. Now, I've had this chronically foundered pony that I trimmed the heels out of that caused this to happen. Set her in a state of mechanical laminitis. And for several years, I kept chasing the toe right here. So, cause see what happens now, the laminar wedge gets bigger than this, and the toe here can stand, the dorsal wall can be standing right on the tippy toe. Okay, and so, okay, so what I would come in here and do, now I've gotten really good at being able to sight down the coronary band here and see where the toe wall should be. Okay, being able to sight down like that. All right, and know where to put my brake over. Okay, so I would see, well, gee, you know, I've got too much leverage on the toe, so I'm always able to come in here and take the toe off at the correct spot. And so I've been fighting these laminar wedges. I will show you pictures in the next video because there won't be time in this one. I'm trying to make them between 15 and 20 to half an hour long. Okay, so I'm constantly chasing this toe. All right, then I found out about the heels, so I've been growing the heels back here, trying to get the heel buttress to lift all this up and push it back and straighten this hairline up. But what I hadn't seen, I knew I had to get that going and get this hairline straightened out. All right, but what I hadn't seen until this last video that I'm telling you I discovered something. What I hadn't seen was how this is working mechanically, how when this cartilage is being pushed up under here and pushed in to the back of this coffin bone, it is lifting this coffin bone up this way, which in turn is causing, well, if I push this up, this has to go somewhere, right? Just like if I push that in, that has to go somewhere. It's going to go up. Okay, and if it goes up, if this end goes up, this end goes down. Okay, but here you have the wall here. What happens there? Well, then you get laminitis. See? Because it tears the foot away from the wall and you wind up with constant laminar wedges in the toe. And so you're constantly chasing that toe, trying to get that laminar wedge out. When the real culprit was clear back here in the cartilage. You got to do something that's going to release the back of this foot and get this up out of here and relaxed and get this back to normal so that this part of the foot here can come back down and give you a normal dorsal wall so that you can grow the dorsal wall hoof out correctly. Okay. Okay, but here, see, it's a constant vicious circle you wind up in with these feet because, okay, just like when this goes in and pushes on the back of the coffin bone and it goes up and then the toe wants to come down and back this way and the wall wants to go out and that way, creating a laminar wedge in here. You know, a wedge. It's called a wedge because it winds up looking like this, wedge shaped. See that? Okay. When this is happening, well, then when this comes down like this, okay, and pushes up like that, this cartilage is still wanting to move up like this. There is a constant pull on this cartilage to want to come up. And it does. And when it does, okay, all the periopal that is attached to it stretches way up like this, and the frog that is there, okay, a lot of times the frog corium will come right almost out of the actual frog that's there. So I'm going to show you some pictures, and maybe now some of you that have had to deal with laminitis in ponies and different horses, and you see this weird manifestation of this weird periopal skin in the back of the heels, you're going to understand why this happens now. Now, another thing that happens, okay, as this is all going on, okay, when a foot rotates, okay, your frog is in a your frog apex, okay, is in a certain location right here on the original foot that was here, right? Okay, but when the foot rotates like this, the frog corium is all pulled back. Okay? So the frog apex is the true apex is no longer here. The true apex is further back here. See there? On this foot over here, it was right there. But once the foot is moved, that's going to move the frog corium as well and the apex of the frog. Okay? And remember, you're dealing with two different objects, really. You're dealing with a hoof inner foot and the hoof capsule that grows from it. And that hoof capsule can be removed just like a shoe. Okay, you can pull that frog corium, that frog right off of that frog corium. Well, this is exactly what happens, except the foot is still attached. And I can show you how on these rotated feet, you'll see that true apex move way back. And so what happens too is if you're trying to judge where to put the breakover in your toe by an apex that is no longer the true apex, you're always going to have the breakover further forward over here, which is also putting more torque on the foot between the wall here, you see. And so it's just this crazy vicious circle because what you're trying to do is you're trying to regrow a normal hoof capsule. Okay, but you can't as long as, you know, you keep chasing the toe and thinking laminitis is all in the toe. Well, when the culprit is back here, okay, that if you could just get the heels regrown and get all this cartilage back to normal, there we go. Get this back out here. Let me put this. See there? There it is. Okay, if you can loosen up that cartilage. Oh, where am I at? And get it relaxed and back to normal. Okay, it's not going to be pushing up on the underside of this and pushing it up that way, which is going to keep the toe from wanting to pull back like that. Let's do it again. Eh, see there? That's what happens. Okay. Okay, for the rest of this video, which will be about 10 more minutes, we're just going to go through some pictures of this pony's feet since around 2012. Um, Now, some of the pictures aren't going to be that good because I didn't have that good a camera, but at the time, I did not know I was trimming the heels out of horses. But here is one picture. This is in 5 of 2012, and you can see the hairline is curved here, and the cartilage is pulled down under. Now, she really wasn't foundered at this point, or what I thought didn't have laminitis. See, feet seemed to look relatively good. I thought at the time. You know, that's not a bad looking foot, right? Okay, but I didn't know it. But the heel was being trimmed out, and all this cartilage was being pulled down under the foot. See, at the time, that did not look bad to me. Back feet seemed to look pretty good. But look here. Look how this is curved down like that. See, seems to look relatively decent. And at the time, that's Molly, and at the time she seemed to be getting around good. Okay, this is about 5 months later at the time. Didn't seem to look too bad. Just looking at that like that, don't seem to look too bad. But the truth was, this cartilage was being pulled down and jammed in there the whole time. Look at the periopal skin here. There's one sign of it. That should not be like that. Let's turn that back. See, that skin should not be going down like that. Your periopal skin should be just straight, like this. Okay. Now you can get some frog skin attached here, but there shouldn't be periopal skin stretched clear down like that. See how the hairline's starting to go down like this now? Like that. Slowly I'm trimming the heels out of this pony. All this cartilage is being pulled down. Now at the time yet, she doesn't have a laminar wedge, and there's no signs of laminitis. Okay, here I can tell I've just really trimmed the heels out of this pony, but I'm doing a typical barefoot trim on this pony. The heel wall, everything is gradually being trimmed out of her. You know, that's what the foot looks like on the bottom. You know, no warning signs about anything. Everything looks relatively normal. Okay, but here, now I can look at this here and I can tell the heels are trimmed out. Your bulbs should never be sitting down here on the ground. See that? See the periopal skin right here in the bulb? That should be up here, and there should be heel down here. Boy, I wish I could go back to this time. And what I really want you to look at here, okay, is look at the hairline across the back here. Because what I'm going to show you later is how this hairline comes to a point down like this now. Okay, because the cartilage and everything has been totally pulled under the foot. But look at this little hairline here. It ain't too bad right here. But what I'm going to show you, you're going to see where it's really bad. I don't know what that is. Oh, it's a dissection. What is that? That's just where I separated the skin right there on a dissection I was doing. Okay, well, this is a few days ago. This is the monstrosity that I'm dealing with. Okay, no matter how much you take the toe back, okay, uh, you can't get rid of the laminar wedge. Now, this little groove here is there to was I put there to try and keep the horn tubules coming down from following the ones that were going out like that. Trying to regrow the heel here, but so far I have maybe a tiny bit of buttress, but a lot of this is still just sidewall. Okay, see the way the cartilage is. This cartilage is jammed and pushed underneath the foot here. You'll see. Now, you remember I told you to look at the hairline, and it was relatively normal, even though I was trimming the heels out of that older picture. Let's see if I can find that. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, see the hairline right here? Okay, now you're going to look at the, I hope I took a picture on this other one. We're going to look at the hairline, what the hairline looks like on this other. Okay. Okay, look at the hairline right here. Do you see it? Goes straight down like that and straight down like that. Why is that? Because all this cartilage is pushed up and folded up in and pressed in under the foot. Now, look at the periopal skin. Strange and odd. How strange and odd it is. See it? That's the periopal skin. Here, let's compare. Just a second here. Okay. Now see how this is almost normal? Okay. See how this is not? It goes to a point. The hairline, like this, goes to a point. Right here. This is almost normal, almost straight across. It was just starting to be pulled down under and squeezed and pressed into the back of the bottom of the foot. This is pressed clear into the back of the bottom of the foot. Pressing up against the coffin bone, pushing up on the back of the coffin bone, causing constant rotation in the toe, which is why I could never get rid of that laminar wedge. And this is what I learned doing this video, on this Warmblood. As I was looking at the mechanics of the whole situation, it dawned on me, wow, that cartilage is being pushed up under the foot. It's pushing up that coffin bone, and it's causing the coffin bone to rotate and pull back and causing a constant laminar wedge. And so I was constantly chasing the toe, when I should have been, if I'd have known this, trying to figure out something to free up this cartilage and release it so it could come back to more of a state like this and quit pushing up on the underside, inside of that coffin bone, creating this mechanical laminitis. Wow. I'm just very blessed because I just know this is going to help a lot of horses. And see, here's the thing too. When you ain't got no heel buttress, you ain't got no stability in the hoof wall. The foot is just everywhere, all over the place. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, this is the other foot that I'm working on, or no, that's the same foot. All I've done here is I've trimmed out that much of the frog. Okay, so that's the end of this video, and get ready for part 4 to learn more about this.